Greetings and salutations, fellow captains. This is Akirishin. In this video, I will be featuring the brand new Tier 8 Chinese fighter, the Shenyang JL-1A-37. This aircraft is in the premium shop, and of course the question arises, do you want to get this aircraft? Is it worth using your resources on? And so I hope to answer some of those questions for you in this video. But first, let's just go over the aircraft's basic features and stats. It's equipped with two 23mm cannons that do 170 damage each, with a rate of fire of 480 rounds per minute, which is, not bad for cannons, and an effective firing range of 800 meters, so that's pretty good. But of course, the coup de grace is the 37mm cannon that does 240 damage per second with a rate of fire of 180 rounds per minute, and not too great effective firing range of only 620 meters, but it has very high single shot damage and has a very high chance of getting a critical hit. So now I will say this, and you'll see this in the combat, you really have to be disciplined about using only short bursts, because these cannons overheat super easy. In fact, to the point that it's almost annoying. But the cannons are incredibly strong. You just have to be very disciplined about doing short bursts and just being patient with that. Now, you're going to see two sorties, combat sorties. The first combat sortie is a build that is based upon improving the aircraft's maneuverability. The final sortie you are going to see is based upon some improvement in maneuverability, but a greater focus on the aircraft's speed, more zoom and boom in nature. And we'll go over each one of those, but the aircraft's specifications, again, it has high airspeed, accelerates quickly when boosting. It only has good maneuverability, and it is indicated as being very effective at intercepting aircraft at high altitude. Stats for this aircraft: its optimum altitude is 2,200 meters, which I would say is a low high altitude range. This aircraft's weakness, I would say, is its average time to turn 360 degrees. It's 12 seconds, which for a fighter, pretty abysmal. Pretty abysmal. A lot of stuff out there that can outturn this aircraft. And of course, its top speed at best altitude, 850 kilometers per hour. Optimum airspeed, 504. I do take note of the stall speed is 200 kilometers per hour. This aircraft tends to stall a good bit, so just be aware of that. Optimum airspeed, 504 kilometers per hour. Alright, so the two builds. And the build you're looking at right now is the maneuverability build. And there are kind of two things that change with these builds. Pilot skills change, and one feature of our consumables changes. Now, what doesn't change between the two builds are our upgrades. In both builds, I do equip Lightweight Airframe 3, which increases maneuverability by 3% in all axes, and Control Surface Adjustment 3, which increases maneuverability in turns by 3%. So those are both of our maneuverability upgrades there. And then I chose to go with Engine Tuning 3, which increases engine power by 5%. That helps us keep our speed up in turns and in climbs and such. And in terms of pilot skills, in the maneuverability build, I went with Engine Guru 1, which increases engine thrust by 3%. That helps with acceleration. So if we need to get out of dodge quickly to get to safety, that helps. And then, consistent with both builds, I've selected Aerodynamics Expert, which enhances all three of our upgrades, regardless of the two builds. So what's different between the two builds in terms of pilot skills? Well, one is that in our maneuverability build, I did not select Engine Guru 2. In our speed build, I did select Engine Guru 2, which increases, collectively with Engine Guru 1, increases engine thrust by 5% and top speed by 2%. But as you see in the maneuverability build, I have not selected that. Instead, I selected Aerobatics Expert, which increases maneuverability in all axes by 2%. So both in terms of upgrades and pilot skills, I went with all the maneuverability skills I could. And then I fire resistance for the remaining one skill point. Now, of course, in the speed build, it's just Engine Guru 1, Engine Guru 2, and Aerodynamics Expert. The other major difference between the two builds comes in the form of one change to our consumables. And specifically, both builds have automatic fire extinguisher because we do have a aircraft that often catches fire, and automatic engine restarter because our engine is said to be vulnerable. In the maneuverability build, I have selected heavy duty control surfaces, which increases aircraft maneuverability in all axes for 10 seconds. In contrast, in our speed build, I selected control surface auto trim, which automatically restores controllability of wings and tail. So those are kind of the two builds. I did select universal ammunition for both builds, which for our 23mm cannons has equal chance of fire and equal chance of critical damage. On the larger cannon, it has a high chance of critical damage and a medium to low chance of fire. So why the two different builds? Well, first of all, they just reflect, different ways of working with this aircraft's strengths and its weaknesses. Second, in one match, which is not featured here in this video, but in one match, I was going up against another JL-1A-37, and that aircraft was outmaneuvering me in close combat. And that was, of course, very frustrating. In the end, I was able to get to outmaneuver the enemy aircraft, but it was a real struggle, and more than once I got the bad end of that equation. So, it led me to understand that I need to do everything I can to accentuate this aircraft's maneuverability, because as a fighter, it's just going to tend to get in these kind of close-in squabbles whether one wants to or not. And you can say, well, you've got the engine power to run. Well, not if it's another JL-1A-37, or not if it's an ME-262, So having that maneuverability, the high airspeed makes it so that, that's already a strength. The area for greatest improvement with this aircraft is its maneuverability. So I think between the two builds, I definitely prefer the maneuverability build. So I'll just tell you that up front. But you'll see both sorties were successful in terms of numbers of kills. They were both defeats, but not because this aircraft didn't perform well. I think it did its job, and they were good matches in terms of the aircraft's performance. So, in terms of paint schemes, we'll go over that real quick here. This is summer. Pretty good paint scheme there. Winter, which is meh. Desert, again, eh. And my personal favorite is the marine paint scheme. I think that's really cool looking. Okay, so again, first up, we're going to have the maneuverability build in combat, and then second, we'll have the speed build, and you can, take a look at each one in combat, and ultimately you'll have to look at your play style and choose what you want to do there or do something else. These are obviously my builds that work well for me. But I definitely favor the maneuverability build, and I have a feeling you will too. Alright, so we will be fighting in the JL-1A37 over the Plateau Turning Point. Theater of operation, we'll head to the command center first. Get that secured. We use our 8-second boost to get over there as soon as possible.
You are approaching the front line. Off we go.
So one of the keys to this aircraft is that guns really overheat quickly. So you have to very much be disciplined about using just short bursts. It's not a particularly great maneuvering aircraft, so important to get some distance from your target. It's trying to maneuver. Like this situation, we won't want to try to maneuver with that. It's better to just get a little distance and then try to re-engage. There we go. If we can take out a air defense station, then we should be able to turn this map, I'm thinking. Or maybe one more air defense aircraft, that'll do it. Hurry though, it looks like we might have some company here. The enemy team in a minute. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna have company. Come on, almost got it. There we go. Now it's locked. And that's fine, because even with the ram, he's not going to be taking our sector over there. So that is good. Alright, so we have a heavy fighter up here. Going after our friendly bomber. Let's see if we, I don't know if we can get up there in time. So engine boost here. Alright, a Spitfire coming in here, so we'll definitely want to save our boost. Get a little distance from that Spitfire. Flip around and finish him off. So our friendly gets him first. Got him. Okay, what else do we have going on here? Got a yak down here, so we'll go down, we'll take out the yak first, and then we'll deal with the ground attack aircraft. So I don't want to yak around while I'm trying to deal with that ground attack aircraft. That's a recipe for getting shot up. Alright. Here and finish them off. Yeah, too tight a turn there. So we'll flip vertically, and this ought to let us finish them off here. Oh, great. Not a time we want an injured pilot. Ground attack aircraft coming in here. Pilot is still injured there. There we go. Try not to collide with our friendlies there. Okay. Moving right along. Couple of fighters up there. Another ground attack aircraft coming in. We will deal with him. I guess that's the same one.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching. We'll soon be
I'm a little worried about these fighters here.
Copy. Over.
Okay with the fighters, so we'll get down here and get this ground attack aircraft before it takes out our command center. We can't let that happen.
We cannot support you any longer. The storm is too heavy. Do you copy? Over.
Okay. Another ground attack aircraft. What is that? Fighter I-250, multi-role over there. Let's see if we can't do something with this airfield over here. Ugh. Spitfire, so we need to take him out right away.
Keep it up. Victory is almost ours.
Alright, need to get some distance here from this Spitfire.
Bomber squadron detected. Engage them immediately.
Alright, let's see if we can get turned around in time here. And I think we have our steering is out. And a wing. It's not looking good, folks. Nope. Alright, well, that is the end of our combat for this sortie. And we are so close to winning, but we are also close to getting eliminated. We could yet lose this. Come on, bots, hold on. Just hide somewhere. Oh no. Only 2 left. We're about to lose Oscar. Yep. And Derwin's right there. And that's it, folks. So close.
You've done what you could. Go back to base.
Well, that was disappointing, but I think this aircraft performed well despite the loss. Let's see here. Flying Warrior Badge, #1 spot on the team. 3 chevron grade result. Flames in the sky. Let's head back and take a look at the after action report and see how we did overall. Okay, so 11 kills, 1 assist, over 4,000 in damage to aerial targets, 2 sectors captured. Did a little bit of damage to ground targets, but nothing of any noteworthiness. Let's see, flying start, effective fire, subjugator were added on, and 8950 in combat points. So I think despite the defeat that the JL1A37 did its job. Okay, so we'll be fighting over the Alpine Gambit, vertical theater of operation. We'll head to the command center first, secure that, so we can get bombers inbound to our enemy's capture points.
Pilots, get ready for action. Let's go.
Let's see how the JL1A does. Those cannons, when they do hit, do quite a number.
Enemy bombers inbound. Don't let them reach their target.
Got a couple of RBs up here. It would seem to be the perfect aircraft for that, I would think. use our sight here to help us out. These cannons do overheat quickly, so you do have to kind of go easy on the trigger there. Stalled. We're definitely at the outer limits of this aircraft's altitude performance, even with our engine upgrades. One down, one to go. And what you're mainly seeing here is just this aircraft having trouble operating at this altitude. Alright, let's head down a little bit. Looks like we have a heavy fighter here. Let our guns... I will say the guns cool down pretty quickly. So that's good. They overheat quickly, but they cool down fairly quickly as well. Let's flip this vertically here, see if we can... destroyed before we could get back to it. We have another IL-20 coming in here, so we'll see if we can't work on it. I dove, he dove. Yeah. Not the best move there on my part, but whatever. Let's see what's going on over here at our airfield. Looks like we have something. What is that? Multi-roll? Where is it? Not seeing it. It says it's here.
Large enemy force is attacking the command center.
See a multi-roll here. Oh well. We do have a whole cadre of enemy aircraft over here though, including an ME-262.
Center. We need it back.
Let's get a little distance here. Re-engage. Some distance. He's probably gonna, guessing, come back around.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching. approaching. We'll soon be unable to provide support.
We'll head up here to our airfield here and see if we can
We have control of all airfields
out
in this
here.
area. Tactical superiority achieved.
Let's see, what is that? Okay. Don't want to get into a turning dogfight with whatever that is.
Victory is in sight. Keep it up. There's a heavy storm here. Unable
Heavy
to
fighter
proceed.
down here.
Return into base. Do you copy?
Ah, this overheating. Alright. Let's see what else. Have we cleared that out yet? No, we've got one more up here. Like an RB. So we're just going to do really short bursts here.
Bomber squadron detected. Engage them immediately.
Very short bursts. That seems to work a lot better. Alright. Yeah, the key there is just to keep the bursts very short, or the guns just overheat so fast. As long as you keep the bursts very short, it seems to do pretty well. An IL-20 coming in here. Swing back around here, should be able to finish this off pretty quickly. There we go. Got some bombers coming in here. See if we can take some of these out before they get to our airfield. Yeah, that's just the key. There's short little bursts. Just have to be very disciplined with it. You can see, even with that, overheats so quickly. Whew, that's close.
Turn back. The enemy force is too strong.
Okay, so unfortunately a defeat, but I think our aircraft performed pretty well there. #1 spot on the team, 3 chevrons on the grade rank, flying start, over 12,000 in combat points. Let's head back to the hangar and take a look at the after action report. Alright, so 14 aerial targets destroyed, so 14 kills, 1 assist, over 9,400 in damaged aerial targets. That's pretty huge. See, 1 sector captured. Did get the Avenger accolade there. 11,870 combat points. And let's see, our #2 had 7 kills. So yeah, a very successful sortie in terms of the plane's performance. Again, it was a defeat, but I feel like this aircraft definitely did its job. So folks, that is the JL1A37. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you decide to acquire the JL1A37, I hope you have great success in it. Just remember to really be disciplined with the short bursts, and these guns are powerful as long as you remember that.